friends, it's Carly and I'm back again with another review. So I know that in my live stream I said that I was going to do a video on Sunday and that I was going to put up a poll to ask you guys what you wanted to see next. But I've been working really hard on my long form videos, so that's why I took a day off of a recording, and I already have a toy that I really want to look at, so that's why I didn't do the poll. I hope you guys are as excited to take a look at this as I am. I'm just really looking forward to seeing the Batman, and I got really lucky to find this. So I am going to be looking at the Penguin figure. Now, for those of you who watched my recent live stream, you know that I am a tremendous Colin Farrel fan. And I talked specifically about how however his career started, the persona that he had of sort of like this beanie wearing like bro or whatever, I think that, and he was doing like a lot of really weird kind of garbagey action movies at the beginning of his career. And then he sort of like fell off, like people stopped, at least I felt like I stopped hearing about him. I wasn't seeing him headlining things. I think one of the last movies I saw him in was about some toll booth or something. Not toll booth, phone booth or something. And then it was just like nothing from him. But in the last maybe 10 years, 5 to 10 years, I have seen some incredible artistic indie type films starring Colin Farrell, including The Lobster and The Killing of a Sacrificial Deer. Those are my two favorites that I highly recommend. But he, like Pattinson, I think, has not been given the attention that he deserves. And I cannot wait for this performance. The transformation was really shocking to some people. For me, not so much, because I've seen those other films and the types of acting he's doing now. So it makes a lot more sense to me that he would do this type of transformation for a film. But I really am just like looking forward so deeply to seeing this performance. And Paul Dano was the Riddler. Incidentally, the figures in this series are the Catwoman, the Masked Batman, the Riddler, and the Penguin and the Batcycle. The Batcycle and the Riddler are what I'm missing so far. So the next few days reviews are going to be what I have so far. And I'm really hoping that I run across the other two figures I'm missing in this wave. I also have a Batman and Catwoman 2-pack that we'll be taking a look at too. So these are the videos that are coming up, and without further ado, we're going to take a look at this Penguin. So we already took a look at the box, and I've sort of shown you the artwork. We've seen it before. It's the red Batman logo, and then just a picture of the card that comes with it, which is you know, the typical standard Mcfarlane. I'm always still a fan of getting a stand and a really thick, heavy action card. I have a pin board in my room that has all of the cards from all of the DC Multiverse figures I've gotten. I really like that little detail. And again, as I've talked about recently, the Mcfarlane packaging is always so consistent. You just know what you're gonna get, and I think that it really helps to keep the costs consistent. So I'm really appreciative of knowing what to expect when I open the package and about how much it's gonna cost me. That was the same with this figure, so I'm really happy with that. There are some things right off the bat that are a little bit puzzling about this action figure. First of all, his accessories are these hands, and on the card, he's pictured with the little finger pistol hand, and then there is a fist right here. So he's pictured with the finger guns on the card, and then he's got two like hands that should be holding something. I don't know what there. And then this is obviously something that he should be having a weapon for, this grip here, and he doesn't. So that sort of bothers me right off the bat. I mean, of course, any collector is going to have any abundance of weapons, and I do, and that's not really the point though. It's like, why are his hands like that if the accessory isn't included, especially since the only additional accessory that was included were just additional hands. I would rather have a finger pistol hand and then a loose hand, you know what I'm saying, or I would rather have something to put in his hands. Since we don't know the movie yet, we haven't seen the character, I'm assuming that this is like a pretty critical moment or part of his character, so they included that. I would rather just have this on the figure and then like a casual hand. rather than a hand that looks like it should have something in it and doesn't. That just doesn't seem right to me. But, you know, it is what it is there. The sculpt on this figure is really nice looking. So Colin Farrell obviously underwent quite a transformation. I do believe that he put on this weight. He has put on weight over the years, not to this extent, but and then there is scarring and a receding hairline. I'm just really interested to see what the story about this character will be in the film based on what he looks like. When I think of DeVito's Penguin, I just wonder what the similarities might be, if there are any. It's very interesting to ask how he got to look this way when we're thinking about what the movie will be like. So I find the appearance of the character very intriguing, and from the film shots that I've seen, this is a really good representation of what the character is going to look like for us. So aces to that. I am never a huge fan of these vinyl overlays. Now, he wears a trench coat, I get it, but it needs to come off, man. It just needs to come off. We need to be able to use our articulate action figure. When you have these heavy vinyl overlays, it really affects the ability of getting everything out of your action figure. It's no good to have, you know, bending knees when you can't bend them because of the jacket. They're really, really, really difficult to bend. And these ones look so strange to me. So while I really like the art, I feel like the sculpt and the paint, you know, we've got our color scheme, our penguin color scheme. So I feel like he's looking great the way that he's supposed to. I feel like there are foibles. As much as I was so excited to take a look at this figure and really anticipating how excited I would be about it, a lot of it isn't really working for me. The look alone is really, really beautiful, but for all intents and purposes, I really feel like this penguin figure is more of a statue than an articulate action figure. There's just too many things hindering his movement for him to be like a really functional action figure that you're going to get a lot of poses out of, other than, you know, a bend of the elbow to point his non-existent weapon. So I guess you just have to use the finger guns if you want to have him making any sort of menacing. So yeah, I do think that looks pretty cool. But overall, the articulation just isn't working for me on this figure. And again, not knowing the character, that might not even be a thing. You know, when you think about DeVito's Penguin, he wasn't really able to be that dynamic in his movements. So I don't know, maybe that's a characteristic of this version of the character as well. But I do think I would like to have this piece be removable so that we can get the most out of it, even if it just wasn't fused right here. So in the center, all of this is fused together. If that were just sliced up the middle, which is something, if I didn't love the way it looked and wasn't afraid that I would never find another one, I might try. As is, though, I'm just going to set him on my shelf like this, and unfortunately, that's about all he can do. But he does look really good, and it'll be interesting to see what we get when I get my hands on a Riddler figure, because he looks like he also has sort of a cumbersome outfit. So will we get the articulation out of that? Hopefully. I would love to be able to, you know, these are action figure characters, so they really need to be able to move around. They're comic book action heroes and villains, and having an articulate action figure at the price of an articulate action figure, it doesn't do me any good for you to put the joints on there when you put an entire piece of plastic over it that prevents me from using it. So kind of a bummer on one hand, but the sculpt and the artwork are beautiful, so we can maybe hope for more from the rest of the figures in this line. Tomorrow we'll be taking a look at the actual masked Batman and see what we think of him. I was pretty happy with the articulation, quite frankly, on the Catwoman, although I do wish she had better accessories. So maybe Batman will fall somewhere in between, and maybe the Riddler will be the best of all. We will find out as soon as I track those down. and I will be back tomorrow with a look at our Batman. Thank you guys so much for watching my videos. I'm working so hard on my long form content. I'm adding a bit of editing here and there where I can, and I thank you guys so much for just being here for everything. My live streams have been really fun. We're gonna keep those coming, and I look forward to doing more. We will be back tomorrow with another one. Thanks for watching and have a good night. Bye, friends.